Hey, my friend, quick question before we even start. Have you ever been mid-conversation, someone asks you something simple, and your brain just freezes? You know the words. You know the grammar. But nothing comes out. If that's ever happened to you, stay with me, because by the end of this episode, you will know exactly why that happens and 5 specific things you can do this week to fix it. Hello and welcome back to English Ignite Podcast. I'm Alex, and I'm really glad you're here today. In today's episode, we're going to talk about one of the biggest frustrations English learners face, understanding English perfectly, but freezing when it's time to speak. This matters because thousands of learners quit not because they're not smart enough, but because they never learned how to turn understanding into speaking. I will be speaking slowly and clearly, so you can follow along and repeat after me. Let's start with the problem. Maybe this sounds like you. You can watch a movie without subtitles. You can listen to a podcast like this one and follow every word. You can read an English article and understand 90% of it. But the moment someone asks you a question in English, your mind goes blank. Does that sound familiar? If it does, take a breath, my friend. You are not broken. You are not behind. This is one of the most common experiences in language learning, and there is a very clear reason for it. Here's the reason. Understanding and speaking are two completely different skills. When you understand English, you are passive. Someone else is doing the work. You just receive the words, and your brain matches them to meaning. That's it. But when you speak, everything changes. You are active. You have to find the words yourself. You have to build the sentence yourself. You have to fix your pronunciation in real time while thinking about what to say next. That is a lot happening at once. And here's the truth most courses won't tell you: you cannot become fluent by only listening and reading. It's like watching cooking videos for 5 years and expecting to cook a perfect meal on your first try. You need to get your hands, or in this case, your voice, involved. So today, I'm giving you 5 tips that will help you close that gap between understanding and speaking. And I'll tell you now, the last tip is the one that changes everything. It's the tip that took me months to discover, and once you learn it, you'll wonder why nobody taught it to you sooner. But let's build up to it properly. Let's start with tip number 1. Tip number 1, stop waiting for perfect English. This is the tip that holds back more learners than any other. So many people say to me, "Alex, I'll start speaking once my grammar is better." But my friend, that day never comes. There is always one more rule to learn, one more mistake to fix. Waiting for perfect English before you speak is like waiting to be a perfect swimmer before you get in the water. It simply doesn't work that way. Listen to this sentence: yesterday I go to the shop. Is that correct grammar? No. Did you understand it perfectly? Yes. And that's the whole point. Communication is not about perfect grammar, it's about being understood. Think about small children learning to speak. They say things like, "Me no want that." It's not correct. But everyone understands them, and over time, their grammar naturally improves. You can follow the exact same path. Let's practice this idea with some shadowing. Repeat after me. I go to work yesterday. Now you repeat. She don't like coffee. Now you repeat. I very happy today. Now you repeat. Good job. Notice something, even though those sentences weren't perfect, you understood every single one immediately. That's the standard you should aim for. Clear, not perfect. So here's your new rule, and I want you to remember this phrase: fluent with mistakes beats silent with perfect grammar. Say that with me one more time in your head. Fluent with mistakes beats silent with perfect grammar. That's tip number 1. But tip number 2 might be even more useful, because it changes not just how confident you feel, it changes how natural you sound. Tip number 2, learn phrases, not single words. Here's a mistake almost every learner makes. They open a vocabulary app, and they learn one word at a time. Word, tired. Word, busy. Word, help. But real English doesn't work word by word, it works in chunks, in groups of words that native speakers use together, automatically, without thinking. For example, instead of just learning the word busy, learn the full phrase, I've got a lot on my plate right now. Instead of just learning help, learn, would you mind giving me a hand with this? Instead of just learning tired, learn, I'm running on empty today. Let's shadow these together. Repeat after me. I've got a lot on my plate right now. Now you repeat. Would you mind giving me a hand with this? Now you repeat. I'm running on empty today. Now you repeat. Very good. Do you see what happened? You didn't have to build those sentences piece by piece in your head. The whole phrase was ready to use, like a tool already in your hand. That's what fluency actually feels like, not translating word by word, but pulling out ready-made phrases. So here's how to build your own collection. When you're watching a show or listening to a podcast, don't write down single words. Write down the full phrase. Say it out loud 3 times. Then, at some point in your day, actually use it even if you're just talking to yourself. Which brings me to tip number 3. And this one, my friend, I want to tell you as a small story, because it's something I actually do myself. A few years ago, I was helping a student named Daniela. She was intelligent, she'd studied English for years, but she told me, Alex, I have nobody to practice with. I live alone. I don't know any native speakers. I understood her frustration completely. But I gave her one simple instruction: talk to yourself. She looked at me like I was joking. But I wasn't. I told her, describe what you're doing while you make your coffee tomorrow morning. Out loud. In English. She tried it. A week later, she told me it felt strange at first, but by day 4, she wasn't translating anymore. She was just speaking. That's the power of tip number 3, speak to yourself, out loud, every single day. You don't need a partner. You don't need a teacher. You don't even need anyone to listen. You just need your own voice. You can do this while making breakfast, while driving, while walking, even in the shower. Try this. Say what you're doing right now, in this moment. I'm listening to a podcast. I'm sitting at my desk. I'm trying to improve my English. Let's shadow a few examples together. Repeat after me. I'm making my coffee right now. Now you repeat. I have a busy day ahead of me. Now you repeat. I need to call my friend later. Now you repeat. Well done. Here's why this works so well. When you speak to yourself, there's no pressure, no judgment, no fear of making a mistake. You can pause, restart, and try again as many times as you want. And every time you do this, your brain gets a little faster at finding English words. This is the training ground where real fluency begins. If you're still listening at this point, that tells me something important about you. You're not just curious, you're actually serious about speaking better English. And that's exactly the kind of person these next 2 tips are going to help the most. Tip number 4, use AI as your speaking partner. This is something learners 10 years ago simply didn't have access to, and I think it's one of the most powerful tools available today. Apps like ChatGPT can have a full voice conversation with you, correct your sentences, and never once get tired, impatient, or judgmental. Here's exactly how to use it. Open the app and say something simple, like, "Can we practice a conversation at a restaurant?" Or, "Please correct my English as I speak," but keep it simple. Then just talk. The AI will respond, and the conversation continues naturally, almost like a real exchange with a patient friend. Why does this matter so much? Because it removes your biggest excuse, "I have nobody to practice with." Now you do. Anytime, day or night, you have a partner ready to talk. But here's a warning, my friend. AI conversation alone will not make you fluent. It's a tool, not a magic solution. It works best when you combine it with the other tips I've already given you, speaking to yourself, using full phrases, and not waiting for perfection. And now, we've arrived at the tip I promised you at the beginning. This is the one that changes everything. If you've made it this far, you've already shown real commitment, so let's make it count. Tip number 5, use the 3-2-1 technique. Here's how it works, and I want you to really picture yourself doing this, because it's simple, but it's genuinely transformative. Choose a short topic. It could be your weekend, a story from a podcast, or something that happened at work. Now, speak about that topic out loud for 3 full minutes. Slowly. With as much detail as you can. Don't worry about mistakes, just keep talking. Then, take a short pause. Speak about the exact same topic again, but this time, only for 2 minutes. You already know the story, so this time you have to speak a little faster and organize your ideas more clearly. Finally, speak about it one more time, just 1 minute. Now you really have to be efficient. No long pauses. No searching for words. You already know exactly what you want to say, so this time, it comes out smooth and confident. Why is this so powerful? Because your brain isn't learning new vocabulary each time, it's automating what it already knows. By the 3rd round, sentences that felt clunky the first time now come out naturally, almost without effort. This is exactly how professional interpreters and actors build fluency, through repetition under time pressure, not through more studying. Try recording all 3 versions on your phone. Listen back afterward. I promise you, the difference between your first attempt and your final attempt will surprise you. That difference, that's what real progress sounds like. Now let's bring this back to where we started. Remember that frozen feeling I described at the beginning, the one where your mind goes blank mid-conversation? That happens because speaking is a completely different skill from understanding, and skills only improve through practice, not through more passive listening. But now you have 5 real tools to fix that. Stop waiting for perfect grammar and focus on being clear. Learn full phrases instead of single words, so sentences come out ready-made. Talk to yourself daily, without fear or pressure. Use AI as a patient, always available speaking partner. And when you're ready to build real fluency fast, use the 3-2-1 technique to turn hesitant sentences into smooth, confident ones. You don't need to do all 5 perfectly starting today. Just pick one. Practice it this week. That one small change is how every fluent speaker you admire got started. I'm Alex, and this is English Ignite Podcast. Keep listening, keep speaking, and keep believing in yourself. Bye for now.